Hello, everyone, and a very happy Thursday to all of you. Coming to you live from my vacation rental house. You can see lovely vacation rental artwork behind me, I believe. Um, I hope you all are doing very well. So, just have a handful of submissions today. We've got a few stills from Danny, as well as a animated scene here from Holly. I did also want to draw attention for you all to something from yesterday. I meant to tell you about this too. So, if you get a chance, if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you take a look at Shane Swift's um, submission for the first lighting challenge. And the reason why I want to bring it up is because our dear friend Francesco at DreamWorks worked on the sequence and on the shot that was submitted and has a lot of really great insight into the film. And I won't bury the lead, but go ahead and check it out. I just want to draw attention to this thread because Francesco really had some really nice insight, um, and just some more breakdowns of more information about the film and the lighting and the process that went into that. So I just thought it was really cool. So definitely take a look at that if you get a chance. Okay, but let's start off with Holly here. So Holly, yes, very cool stuff. I think this is looking really great. There are some things that we can improve upon. And so let's talk about them. The first one is a like a technical issue. Like if you look right here, let's make that a little bigger. So like right at the edge of this building over here, like you'll see these windows, the glow of these windows actually passing through the foreground building. So it just looks like there's a layering problem. And also, actually, I can see it up here now too. Now I'm seeing it. So that's the first one that you want to take care of, because that's like not only just an aesthetic problem, but it's a but I like to take care of the things that could be like technically wrong first. Okay, so that's A1. Um, some other stuff. It'd be nice to get some lights on in this foreground building. It would also be nice to get some more glow out of this helicopter pad, like make it like very kind of bright and glowy, similar to what we're seeing out of one of these windows. In terms of the car light, two things about the cars. Number one is I would start my animation on the car 15 to 20 frames before you actually start your shot. And the reason why, or change the animation curve so it's so it kind of goes on forever. Because what it's looking like right now is this feels like when you call action on a movie set, because the cars are stopped in the first frame, like these first handful of frames, the cars barely move, and because they're kind of ramping into their animation, and so you can kind of like see the animation curve. It does one of these S curves, and you want to make sure that that looks like they were moving before the animation got started. So either animate it before, set your keyframes before, or change the interpolation on the curve. So that the other thing about them is the color of the lights. It's a bit odd that they're like one rear light is pink and one is white. I would expect them to be a little bit more red. It's fine if you want to like go more pink with it and say, in the future rear lights, tail lights will be pink. I would make them both red and just go from there. And the other thing that I would really like to see out of the cars, well, one thing is this, like if you just watch this car, it's the tail light here seems to get brighter as it gets later in the shot. So just watch out for that. It might just be because it's getting hazed up and glowed up as it goes back into space. But the other thing is I was kind of hoping it would hit like this building a little bit, or like the sidewalk a little more, like there's a little bit more spread on it. So maybe go in and just see if you can get some more interaction between the headlight and the surrounding space. I think that was everything I had with this one, because I think it is looking really nice. The only other thing too is it looks like, I'm seeing this, it looks like this car coming across this way drives through, like it looks like there's a median there, or just like a thing of concrete. You may just want to take that away because it looks like it just drives right through it. And yeah, I think that's it. But I love the color palette again. I think it's working out really, really well. I think we can possibly continue to work on like just vignetting and just darkening here in the foreground. Oh, and the last thing I was going to say, maybe throw a light or two back in this region, just because it's a little bit of like a dark void back over there. So just like a hint of another building would be great. But yeah, really, really strong stuff, Holly. This has come along. This has come a long way, and I think you're getting really close. Okay, so now Danny's got some submissions over here, so we will talk through them. First up, this one really close. The last few tidbit things that I would do would be number one. I'm just going to do this here real quick so we can look at the luminosity. So I would actually, I think the face can get a little bit brighter and the background get just a touch darker. Maybe the background doesn't need to go darker, but like the face, I think we can push that just a little bit brighter. Just to get him to pop off the background just a touch more. And then additionally, something like that. And then additionally, I would pull a little bit of the red saturation out of the eyes. This way. Just because like I'm seeing just like a pink kind of haze on the eyes in there, and I think we can. And I'm just talking about the eye whites now. And I think that would be that. Okay. So just pulling out some of that pink, I think would be very beneficial. Again, lightening up the face just a touch. But other than that, I think this is looking really good. Maybe just, and then if you're lightening up the face, I think maybe just like a touch more light on the shoulders, maybe, and maybe like a little bit down there. But other than that, really, really good stuff overall. Let's talk about this one. So this one still needs some work. I feel it's interesting because I may have steered you wrong in the last critique by talking about the light scraping down the buildings, because now all it feels like is the sun is in front of those buildings instead of in the far distant sky. So perhaps we should read them. It should maybe read as more silhouette-y kind of stuff. So all of this is silhouetted, and then the playground elements are in the foreground. So let's try that for the next iteration, and really, and I know you're going to nuke out the sky in the comp, but let's go ahead and take a look at that, because that will matter so much to the final look. You know, things like let's see what you reference that. Like, look at the dark points. Like the black points around the sun itself, like these areas in here, they're not getting very dark at all. It's really only when we get far away from the sun's influence do we start to see super darks. And so like that would be over here. And so like all of these dark values in here are going to get kind of obliterated by the sun and just like by the haze and the glow that goes over top of that. So I'd like for you to try that nuke before we evaluate it again, because that's really going to help define the next look. Because that and then with that haze, we can kind of start to separate these foreground elements off from the background. And I think because like it's hard to get a full evaluation of it, but in the end, I think we're gonna have to go like this level of brightness, and then there's going to be like a super kind of hazy, glowy, like super blurry, diffusion-y stuff on top. Like this would be warmer. You know, like somewhere, not quite that much, but like somewhere in this like this realmy type of a thing. Because that's the other thing about the colors, is they're feeling very magenta right now and not as as orangey, glowy, warm. So I would just double check into that. But like something more along this lines ultimately, which is where you'll probably end up. So I would just try and get to that point now, and so we can start playing with the look a little bit, because then that'll really matter. And again, we won't be seeing as much light on the front of these buildings. There'll be more light behind it. There'll be more like light wrap on the edge, and just kind of feeling that up a little bit. But I think that'll be a really good transition into the next step, because we should really see that to really develop our look. And this one's coming together really nicely. I love, like, this is exactly what I was looking for in this next iteration, was just like, because this is a nice structure, right? Like, you can feel like this is now we've simplified the shot to these core elements of what we want. We've stripped away the it's like going through an old closet and getting rid of all your old clothes. Like, now we've minimized it down to just the key elements here. So again, light shining in through the doorway, hitting the back of the character. We've got this light shining down. Now it's just a matter of refining this stuff. So I think our primary light source is this one, because we really want to focus in here. And then this one's a little bit secondary. It's still bright, but let's really kind of glow it up here in the middle, and then use this as a secondary one. Specifically on his rim, like, we can take that down a little bit in terms of its intensity, because it's now more intense than the key light. And then we can start playing with the values, like making sure that we're seeing some of the bounce light into the fill values in these cards so that they're reading. You can play with color too. So this could be like, maybe this is a very warm light, this is a cool light, maybe it's, like, tell a little bit more of the story with the color of the light too. Like, what is that outside? Is that a nightclub? Is that a restaurant? Is that like what is outside that space, and how are we going to like communicate that in the color of the light? But yeah, really great structure. And then also you'll eventually want like probably like a little bit of haze or volumetric glow coming down here. That's just kind of hazing out a little bit. But yeah, overall, really, really great stuff. And I think this is structuring out to be a really, really strong piece. Okay, so that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And if I missed anybody, please also fill me in. Our community, it's great, has been getting busier and busier all the time. But I fear that I'm missing, just because I'm trying to brainstorm a better way of submitting than just posting on Facebook, because I feel like things kind of get muddled a little bit, like just by the way they do things. Like, you'll post something and then somebody will comment on something old, and then that gets moved up to the top, and stuff just can kind of get buried to the bottom. Or like posts, submissions can get done in the comments, and then I don't always see them. So we're gonna brainstorm some different ways of improving the submission process, and we'll go from there. So yeah, I think that's it for today. So if you guys have any other questions, write them up, and I will check back in later. So if not, I will see you all tomorrow for tomorrow's critique. All right, happy lighting, everybody.